Are you ready for another meditation challenge? Welcome back to day 2. We're here ready to open our heart chakras. Now, what's this heart chakra thing all about, Rob? Well, let me tell you. And why it's important. And why love is probably one of the most important things. You know, it all starts with, why are we even interested in meditation? Why can't we just feel perfect bliss and love at all times? Well, it basically boils down to this. Truly, we are all energy. Truly, we are multi-dimensional beings. You know, it's pretty obvious we have a physical body. But beyond that, we have many different dimensions to our being. And one of the most closest dimensions, the fourth dimension, the astral dimension, is where our subtle physical body is. The subtle physical body, also known as the energy body, is where the chakras are. And the chakras are energy centers. And now in the physical body, we understand we have organs. We have a heart, we've got a brain, we've got a liver, we've got a gallbladder. I remember all the words from anatomy class. We've got a stomach, and we've got all these different organs that perform these different functions. Well, in the subtle physical body, we also have these chakras, which perform various functions, but on a different dimension, on an energetic dimension. And this energetic dimension that we interface with, we work with it through feeling emotion. So, why is it important to develop our ability to feel? Because we're cutting ourselves off from a vast expanse of who and what we really are if we're unable to feel emotions. Emotions are the key. The ability to feel emotions is the key to multi-dimensional access. Now, why is that even important? Well, you know, I just want to go to work. I just want to live happy. I just want to get married, settle down, watch Netflix on the weekends and drink a beer and then just say, to hell with it. Well, then maybe this isn't the group for you. Because as a meditator, we intuitively know that there's more to life. And a little story here. We're born into this world. Now, when we're born, we are a pure vessel, brand new. Now, we may take with us some past life karma, but that's a story for another time. Past lives, reincarnation. I don't want to bog you down with too much heavy stuff. But let's say we're born into this world, and immediately, and for whatever reason, we're born into this world, into this body. But regardless, we're here, it happened, and what we're confronted with is a world, a society, a culture, a family that influences us via a language. We grow up, we meet people, we're given a name, we're given an identity, we become this name, we become this identity. And, you know, the world reinforces it. We're put on that track. We're put on that course to become the productive person in society, right? You know, and we all go through it. School, friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, you know, growing up, going through peer pressure, friends, situations, breakups, growing up, graduating from school, getting married, finding that job, pursuing that career. You know, there's like a conveyor belt of options for us, and it seems very limited and very linear. And those of us looking for the truth, might start to seek philosophies, perhaps religions, perhaps practices like meditation. And maybe that's why you're here. You're seeking something more real than just the mundane conveyor belt that society offers us. And I can tell you that meditation is the key. Okay, so we're born into this world. So what happens is that truly, because we are multi-dimensional beings, at the core, at the heart of us is pure awareness, pure consciousness. Now, if you haven't been told that before, it's important to kind of just take it on faith in the beginning. But I can tell you, don't take anything I say on faith, and don't trust anything that I say today or any time. Prove it to yourself, and it can be proven by meditating. That's what I love about meditation. It's not dogmatic. It's not some religious trip that someone's trying to throw on you. It's all about self-discovery. To discover means to uncover. So what are we uncovering? What we're uncovering is the layering and the layering and the layers of conditioning that we've received since being born. Throughout our entire lives, we've been conditioned, we've been programmed, we've been educated, we copy those around us, and we kind of just go about life following the group. Well, for most of us, maybe. But there comes to a point in our lives when we realize that there's got to be something more to this. And so we seek something like meditation. And when we sit down to meditate, we have a sense that there's something more, there's something real within us, or something real within this life. But the problem is that, and here's the problem, is that we're confronted with the conditioning of our minds. We're confronted with the pattern of our thoughts, of the repetition, of the limitation. And this realization that we are simply living within this swarm of thought patterns, of incessant mental chatter, of distraction, of undisciplined attention. When we first sit down to perhaps try to meditate, we're confronted with this realization that, gosh, my mind is a mess. Usually that's the case. So we have a problem. We have a problem. Now meditation, if we lived in a perfect world, in a perfect higher dimension of light, meditation would be something that's very, very easy for us to do. We would simply sit down, become still, our mind would become still, everything would become light, and we would dissolve into that beautiful, blissful eternity that is ever present. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world. We live in a very crowded world, a very active world. It's an okay world. It's sort of an in-between world. Have you noticed? It's got its highs, it's got its lows, and it's mostly got its in-betweens, right? And maybe that's your experience. But so what? So we're here. We have to deal with what we are, given, right? So, as meditators, we're realists. We say, okay, yes, I see that my mind is a pattern of incessant cycle of thoughts, repetitions, memories, confusion, occasional realizations, occasional feelings of bliss and love, occasional feelings of depression. This is this high and low and this wavering effect in this world, in this life. So when we first begin our meditation practice, we're confronted with this overcrowded mind, with this mind that seems like it's a 3-year-old toddler that just can't sit still. Well, the good news is that we can discipline our minds, we can train our minds, and this is what we're here to do. Okay? So the process of meditation is really the process of overcoming attachment. And we're attached with many different things. We're attached with thinking too much. We're attached with overindulging in our senses sometimes. There's many different attachments that we might have. We might have attachments to this, attachments to that. But the reason why attachments are challenging, to put it in a politically correct sense, is because they limit us. They limit our freedom. And the truth is that our awareness, innate awareness, is free. Consciousness, awareness, is free. And we seek that freedom. We seek to overcome the limitation. Now, of course, we have to work within a multi-dimensional framework, meaning we have a body. We all know that the body has its limitations. If I wanted to fly, well, that might be kind of a difficult process unless we get really good at levitation. Okay, but we have to board a plane. We have to jump off a building and go skydiving or something in order to get that sensation of flying. So we understand that there are limitations within the physical. So beyond and prior to, behind all things, is consciousness. And consciousness is innately free. It's freedom. And we sense that it's there, but we're sort of bound by this habit, this tendency of mind. So how do we overcome it? Well, meditation, as I said, is a process of overcoming attachments. So what is attached? As I talked about briefly yesterday, and I'll talk a little bit more about it today, is that our attention is our willful, directed modification of this innate awareness. Imagine at our core that we are pure, beautiful, blissful awareness. It's just self-existing. We don't do anything. It was here before us. It doesn't have a name, but we can experience it. We can become it. We can return to it. We can discover it, which is what self-discovery is all about. What is the self? We talk about self as being the self, the one uniting factor of all things. You can call it cosmic consciousness. You can call it higher consciousness. It really doesn't matter what we label it. As humans, we're very good at categorizing and labeling. And this is probably just an effect of our mind. Our brain likes to dissect, categorize, put things into different levels, hierarchies, categorizations. We like order. But order is just an illusion. The truth is that the world is chaos. But this illusion that we see, this pattern that we see, this hallucination that we're participating in seems real to the senses. It seems real to the person, the personality. So we've become this person, we become this personality. And at a certain point, we get fed up and we get tired with it. It's like, okay already, I get it. So when we're meditating, it really doesn't matter what technique we're doing, because the technique is just a bridge. It's just a vehicle. The technique is just a way. It's a path toward uncovering the truth of who and what we really are. So if we can just sit down and be perfectly still, if we can just sit down and be awareness without having to do anything, well, that would be great. But for most people, that's just not realistic. Okay, we have to deal with the reality of the world, the reality of our condition that we're born into. Many of us seek meditation because we want to learn how to overcome, to get out of this attachment. So, in this meditation challenge, I've called it 30 Days of Love, because what we're going to be doing is opening our heart chakra. And truly, love is just another word. But the feeling of love, yes, that's real. That feeling of love is the best thing we can relate to as truth, as reality, as God, for lack of a better word. Dare I say it. Love. Love is that emotion that unites us. Love is that emotion that bridges the gap. Compassion. Now, why is this very important? Yes, it's good to be compassionate to others. It's good to help others out. And we all want to feel good as well. But love, specifically the frequency of love, is the carrier pigeon. It is the vehicle that takes us to the other side. Love is the vehicle that takes us to higher dimensions. Love is what unites. Hate divides. Love is the opposite of fear. Fear closes you off and makes you defensive. Love opens you up and makes you all-inclusive. It joins, it brings together. You know, the true definition of the word yoga is to join. So yoga really means love. And I'm not talking asanas, you know, hatha yoga postures. I'm talking about the process of yoga. In the ancient way of self-discovery, and one of the books that I recommend highly is the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali describes the 8 limbs of yoga, the various processes that lead up to enlightenment. And what is enlightenment? I don't know about you, but I meditate to reach enlightenment, realization, union with God. What really is that? What does that mean? It just means to discover, to become the true nature of who and what you already are. It's already here. You already are a powerful, beautiful, loving being. But the problem is these darn incessant thoughts that keep going around, right? Deluding us, confusing us, separating us, judging the world, categorizing everything, labeling. It's annoying. Okay, so in order to get beyond that, what we need to do is discipline our attention. So what is our attention? Yesterday I talked about the fact that who and what we really are is pure awareness, pure consciousness. What is awareness? Ponder on that for a moment. Awareness doesn't have a name. It's aware without having to do anything. It's what I call effortless awareness. And effortless awareness is the state of meditation. It's the state in which we don't have to do anything. We are simply already being what we are, which is awareness. And if you are awareness, well, heck, you're aware of everything. Because everything is awareness. And what is there to be aware of? But everything. Everything in creation. So the core, the center of everything, behind everything, prior to all things, is this consciousness. Consciousness stands on its own, prior to all things. And this can absolutely be experienced and verified by anyone who seriously practices meditation. And so this is why I do these 30-day meditation challenges, y'all, because I want you to experience what's beyond. Because I've experienced it. This is why I'm a meditation teacher. I think this is the most important thing in this life, is to learn about who you really are, right? Without any of the BS. It's direct. So let's get directly to it, shall we? I've wasted enough time here today. Each and every day you'll come on and hear me blabber on about more fun stuff. Okay, so why do we meditate on the heart chakra? Why not the third eye? Why not the navel? Why not the solar plexus? Why not the throat? Well, the heart chakra is in the center. It's the center of all things. And it's a good place to start. It's very safe. There's no issues with opening the heart chakra. And it's very good to have your heart chakra open, because the heart chakra, being the center chakra meaning that there's 3 above, throat, third eye, crown, 3 below, navel, sex, and root. This is how I describe the chakras. There's 7 primary chakras. The chakras exist within your subtle body, your subtle physical body. We talk about as the body of energy, the 4th dimensional body. This is the body where we access through feeling. Now, most of us have become very numb. And when we sit down and try to feel our heart chakra here in a moment, it might be very closed off. It might be very blocked. And this is simply due to perhaps the conditioning that we've experienced in life. You know, we live in a society that is dominated by Western culture, meaning intellect, logic, maleness, order. Okay? So you've got the other side of things, the feminine, the creative, the expressive, the open, the love, the intuition. So we have both of these sides. Okay, we've got the logical side and we've got the intuitive side. It's very good to have a balance of both. You don't want to be too one-sided, because if you're too one-sided, well, then you'll fall over. So balance is a very critical component of successful meditation. We first must balance our bodies. You know, when I look at balance, what's the ultimate symbol of balance? Well, perfect geometry. Let's say a pyramid or a triangle. You know, perfection does exist. It exists within geometry. We have examples of it within life. I mean, you could say life is perfect as it is, and truly it is. But when our thoughts start to get in the way, when our thoughts start to label and judge and dissect, that's when things get imperfect, according to our judge, our inner judge, right? So the process of meditation is really a distraction, initially. The process of meditation is a process. It's not a single, stop. You know, a lot of people who are new to meditation are told that you should just sit and focus on your breath. Just sit and focus on your breath. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. That's just the beginning. So in the beginning of meditation practice, we should practice some form of concentration. Now, what is concentration? The process of meditation involves concentration, meditation, and absorption. Now, in the beginning, you're concentrating your attention. Your attention is your awareness. Remember, all you are is awareness. If everything is consciousness, we can start with that framework and then break it down into what we experience, who we are, who we think we are. So if our core is awareness, then what is attention? Attention is a modified form of awareness. It's the awareness that we take and willfully direct into one of our senses. So for example, when I say, give me your attention, well, of course you look and you listen. So looking and listening are two of our senses, eyes and ears. What is behind that? Our attention. So our attention can move. Our attention can be caught up into thoughts. We would like our attention to be present in the present moment. We would love our attention to be effortless awareness without having to do anything. Just perfect bliss. Because effortless awareness is bliss. But it's not always the case. Why is this? It's the tendency and the habit of the mind to think in various patterns due to the conditioning. Hopefully this is all starting to make sense for you guys. Okay, this is basics. This is 101, but I believe it's absolutely important to understand the context of where we're starting. What is the problem that we're trying to solve with meditation? And it can be done. It absolutely can be done. And we have the example of the Buddha, the heights of human potential, the Christs, the masters. And, these beings that are our teachers, that are our sacred teachers, we look toward them for inspiration. We look toward them for an example that we're shown that, hey, if they can do it, I can do it, right? That's right. The same essence is who you are. So So this essence of all things, consciousness, awareness, is simply being blocked by the layers of conditioning. Now, it's more than just mental. Okay? We have the energetic body that we're talking about here. The energy body picks up impressions throughout our life. Now, it would be great if we all walked around with open heart chakras and sending each other love, or effortlessly being in a state of perfect oneness and meditation all the time. I'm sure that's somewhere in some dimension, right? Some higher dimension somewhere that does exist. But that's not the case here in this world. So we have to be vigilant. We have to be prepared. And we have to be a little bit sleuthy, for lack of a better word that I can think of in the moment. We have to be a little bit careful when we're living in this world. We have to be warriors, spiritual warriors, because this world is a world of love, but it's also a world of war. And so we have to be prepared for both. And this is why, personally, I was attracted to martial arts as a young guy. When I started martial arts, I was 15, and I wanted to become a master. And I was very fortunate enough to have a teacher who also taught meditation and Qigong and various forms of energy practices within the martial arts teachings. And so I've always been a big proponent of being on the path towards self-mastery. I think it's very important to at least, get somewhat adept and proficient at this thing. This body, we're going to have it for a little while. Okay, so we're dealing with a subtle body that perhaps has brought and taken on many different impressions within this life. When you're around someone who's loving, you feel it, you open up, your heart opens up, you relax a little bit. You kind of open the door, right? And let him in. But when you're around someone who's negative, when you're around someone who's violent, who's angry, you close off. And you protect yourself, you shield. It's just a natural thing. So what we're actually experiencing when we do this is a energetic contraction. And so our whole energy body contracts and shields and blocks. So let's say you're brought up, you're so fortunate to be brought up in a family that is a little angry. Maybe you had an angry dad. Maybe you had a violent mom. Maybe you had brothers and sisters that picked on you and teased you and beat you up when you were a kid. You never know. But unfortunately, that's the reality sometimes. And what happens is that we develop these blocks, energetic blocks, due to the constant contraction of our energy bodies and the closing off of our heart chakra. Your energy body has also taken on these forms of blocked contraction, of layers. Perhaps we've been around abusive boyfriends or girlfriends, and whatever experiences that you've gone through in life has led you to where you are today. And so the energy body is another important factor. So this is why I love meditating on the chakras, because it accomplishes two things. Number one, it gives you an object to focus on. And two, it helps to open up, heal, reinvigorate, fortify, re-energize your energy body, which is very important. It's like your physical body. The health of the energy body is perhaps even more important than the health of the physical body. And if we have an unhealthy energy body, this feeds into the physical body and eventually can become physical problems, physical illness, physical disease. So let's say we're constantly around people who are giving off angry energies or violent energies, negative all the time. And we pick that up as sensitive beings. I recommend getting away from these people if you can, okay? If you can't, well, we have another set of practices for you. But, dealing with who you are and what you are now. We all have varying degrees of trauma. Just being born into this world, just living in this world can be a traumatic experience. Just turn on the news. It's another thing I recommend avoiding or minimizing is the news. Because it's just all, I was going to say it's all fake, but it's all negative, mostly. The news. Turn it off. We don't need it. So, we're dealing with the state of our mind, but we're also dealing with the state of our energy body. So this is why it's important to work on these two factors in your meditation. Factor number 1, extracting our attached attention that is so caught up in the thoughts, so caught up in the past, so caught up in the projection, so caught up in the myriad things that can be caught up in within the mind, within the thoughts, and within the thinking. And bringing your attention to a single point. This is known as single-pointed mind. Single-pointed mind. And it's exactly what it is. It's exactly how it sounds. It's bringing your attention to one point of focus. Now, many people are familiar with this when you're told to focus on your breathing. What I call breathing, I call it a process. I don't call it an object, because that just doesn't make any sense. So when you bring your attention to a process, whether it be your breath, or whether you bring your attention to an object, like a chakra, when you're bringing your attention to a sense, like listening to music, that we did in the last meditation challenge. Notice it's very different this time. We're doing the meditation to silence. Whether you bring your attention to your eyes and do an open-eyed meditation, like I like to do on the yantra. Oh yeah, got that yantra ready. And we're using our eyes to single-pointed focus on a single dot. What this is doing is it's training your attention. It's training your willpower. Because we all know what happens when we try to bring it to a single point. What happens, class? Yes. Our attention wanders back. Darn it! I thought I had it. Well, this is the process. This is the fun part. To me, it's like a game. And it's good to treat it like a game. It's like, why not have fun with this process? It should be fun. So, our attention is all scattered. It's like fragmented. And that's a good analogy. It's like the shattering glass, the shattered mirror, right? The shattered mirror analogy of the mind. Well, let's say awareness, consciousness was once perfect and whole. It was one. And it still is, by the way. But, in the world of illusion, it has become shattered and fragmented into many different pieces, reflecting back. And this is our experience in life. And so we feel confused. We feel shattered. We feel scattered. We feel all over the place what's going on. Can't tell this from that. So, when we bring our attention to one focal point, what this does is it eventually will stabilize your attention to be able to become still. Okay? So, why is this important? Well, that's like the key that unlocks the door to the effortless awareness, which is already there, but it's simply not being noticed because our attention is all over the place and it's distracting us. Okay, it's bodily distracting. I got an itch. It's noise distracting. I hear the neighbors. It's whatever it might be. I'm hungry. I'm too full. I'm blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking too much. And so, the discipline of bringing the attention to a single point, single-pointed mind is step number 1. So what do we do there? That's when we practice our concentration. So it's our attention that is being concentrated. It's like concentrated orange juice. I don't know. But it's like concentration, okay? Because we are concentrating it all in one point. Now, it's going to wander. It's going to wander immediately. It's going to want to go back to its comfort position. But the comfort position is not comforting at all, is it? In fact, this is just simply a pattern, a habit, a tendency. So habits can be broken, right? With good habits, right? And tendencies can be overcome with discipline, with training. You know? And I always use this analogy. When you were 2 or 3 years old, or however old you were, 2, 3, 4, it was very difficult to even sit still, physically. Well, the awareness, the mind, is like a 2 or 3-year-old. It has a difficult time just to sit still. But it can be disciplined, it can be trained. It can mature over time and through proper training. So we're bringing our attention to the heart chakra. Now what are we doing there? Well, we're feeling. Wait a second, Rob. Feeling, what is that? I'm not familiar with this feeling business. I know about touch, I know about taste, smell, hearing, and seeing, the 5 senses of my physical body. But feeling, I haven't done that in a while. What's that all about? Okay. Feeling is when you feel an emotion. Now, feeling is much more than that. Feeling is also part of our intuition. It's what I call the 6th sense, since it's beyond the 5 senses. You could call it the 7th sense, 8th sense, doesn't matter what you call it. Fact is that it's there. It's our ability to be beyond the body. What's beyond the body? The energy body, the subtle physical body, the body of the nadis, the chakras. This is all in our energy body, our aura. So we're bringing our attention to our heart chakra, and then we're feeling the energy there. Now in the beginning, it may be difficult to feel, I understand, because feeling is a lost art, as I said before. But we can regain it, we can redevelop it. So when we're feeling our heart chakra, in the beginning it's helpful to take the tips of the fingers and place it in the center of the chest. Let's all do that right now, shall we? Now hopefully you're ready to go here. You're sitting up straight, whether you're on the floor, seated in cross-legged position, or perfect full lotus on your cushion or on your stool, or you're sitting on a chair like my inflexible old ass likes to do, and you're sitting upright with a good posture. Now place the fingertips in the center of the chest. Close your eyes. Now you can feel the touch of the physical finger touching the center of the physical chest. What this is giving you is a point of reference for your attention to go to initially. Okay, and what that does is it's giving you a place in space and time, because that's how we operate here on the physical realm in 3D. It's all about grid, location. This is the cross. You ever wonder what the sign of the cross is? 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh, right here. Right here. The sign of the cross. How do you get to God? Through Jesus Christ, of course. Well, what is Jesus Christ? Love. Christ consciousness is the heart. And what is God? Enlightenment. It's all symbolic in Christianity. That's another story for another time. I watched the viewership just no. So we have to open up our hearts. Without it, we're stuck. We're stuck here in the physical plane. And that's no fun. Okay? It's only fun for a little while. It's only fun for a little while. But then we seek more excitement, more adventure. Oh, I want to experience multi-dimensions. Well, I want to experience my birthright. We're multi-dimensional beings. We're unlimited beings. Heck, don't you want to know what's beyond? Who you really are? What life has to offer? Sure you do. That's why you're here listening to this crazy nut here every day. Okay, so first thing, concentration, feeling. In the beginning, you'll use your fingertips to sort of locate, triangulate, find the place in space and time to hold your mind. Oh, I love rhyming. So you're holding your mind here. Okay, that's step one. So this is accomplishing the discipline of extracting our attached attention out of the thought forms, out of the myriad distractions that it can get involved with, the body sensations, the thoughts, the you name it, that incessant pop song that wants to keep cycling in our heads, and bringing it here and just feeling. Now, it's okay if the very second you bring it here, it flies back. Just bring it back again. It's okay if the very next second it flies away. Just bring it back again. Every single time you bring your mind back to the heart chakra or back to any focal point, you're exercising your willpower. And your willpower then can be exercised to hold still. Now, why is this important? Well, this is important because what we're seeking to do is to stabilize our attention first. Okay, that's step one, stabilizing our attention through concentration on a single point. Okay, the next sequence of events is that simultaneously, as we're doing this, we're also letting go. We're also releasing any unnecessary attention and blockages. See, what happens is, it's very interesting, is where the mind goes, where the attention is. This is the most real thing in the world. Your attention point. There's nothing more real. But it's so fleeting because it's just undisciplined. It's all over the place. It's wavering. But the reality is where your attention is. Where your attention is, you are. That's who you are. Your attention, your awareness, ultimately. Remember, your attention is just a modified form of awareness. Your attention is just your willfully directed ability of awareness. Call it attention, okay? But attention, once stable, starts to transition and transform into effortless awareness. Now, effortless awareness is a state beyond concentration. Once we've concentrated to the point where we've reached stability, meaning we're able to hold, and this may take 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes. Okay? Let me reiterate that. This may take 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes sometimes, just to stabilize our attention on a single point. That's totally fine. It's totally okay. The key here is practice. Daily practice, you'll get better. You'll get quicker. What takes 20 minutes today may take 15 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then instantaneous stillness, constant stillness. So when we're still here, there's no more distracting thoughts. Now, thoughts may still arise, but we're not distracted by them. They kind of just fly off because we've settled in, we've settled down. Our energies have become calm, we've become still. This is why I call my coaching program Steps to Stillness, because stillness can be achieved, but it takes training, it takes steps. Once we've gotten still here, what happens is that there is a spontaneous dawning and a realization that occurs. An effortless awareness unfolds. Because effortless awareness was already there. We just had to get beyond the thoughts. We just had to get out of the attachment to our thoughts. Does that make sense? Thoughts may still arise even in the state of meditation, but we're not attached to them. They simply arise and then, we don't get caught by them and then have to pull it back with willpower. We're perfectly still. And at that point, well, that's when the meditation really begins. So this is why concentration is a prerequisite for meditation. Concentration is something where you can measure it. How long can I concentrate on something? Does that make sense? And in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, he talks about that concentration. Now, Patanjali was a yogi, he was a sage, he was an enlightened being who developed the 8 limbs of yoga. It's a classic text. I highly recommend it. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Okay? So, once we've brought our attention here, and it becomes stable, there dawns the effortless awareness. And this effortless awareness is effortless. It's no longer doing. Remember, meditation process is from doing to being. So the doing part is the concentration part. The doing part involves attention. The being part involves nothing. It doesn't involve our attention anymore because awareness is now unfolded. It's uncovered. It's spontaneously happening without us having to do anything. And this is really where the meditation state is. It's in a state of spontaneous being, not doing. Now, beyond meditation is something called samadhi. In samadhi, we become absorbed. There's no longer any sense of self. There's no longer any separation. So that's really something that only happens when we're able to get into that effortless awareness. Samadhi is absorption. When there's no more separation, when the awareness, when the attention, so in the beginning, there's a sense of I am focusing here. And then there's a sense of a transition of there's just being, but there's still a sense of a separate self experiencing that being in meditation. But samadhi is complete disillusion, the dissolving of any separation. This is where union occurs. This is where enlightenment can occur. And there's various stages of samadhi, various stages of absorption. And you really only know that you've been beyond when you come back, when you return to your regular waking state, that you've been beyond it. Okay, we've gone beyond the time limit for today, folks, and I really do appreciate you hanging in there and listening. So let's get to the meditation, shall we? So, I'll get my insight timer here. If you don't have insight timer, I teach folks how to use this within the meditation coaching program that I teach. But it's a great timer because you can program it for a certain length of time. Wow, that's awesome, dude. A timer programs it for time? Yes, yes, yes. But it's got cool bells, dude. Awesome bells and wood blocks. If you're into Zen, the wood block. Or if you're into Tibetan bowls. This is my favorite. Ding. Okay, so I've programmed my timer for 20 minutes. We're going to be doing a 20-minute meditation. We're going to start off with some breathing, because that's the popular thing to do. But it's actually a very important thing to do. Because if you're not breathing properly, well, you'll die. No. Truth is this, is that in the beginning, we're going to be breathing. But at a certain point, we're going to forget completely about the breath. You ever go to sleep? Do you think about your breathing? No. When you're going to sleep, you forget all about your breathing. Do you keep breathing? Yeah, you'll be fine, don't worry. Eventually, we must move beyond focusing on the breath, my friends. And this is why I like to focus on the heart chakra. Because the heart chakra is non-physical. It moves us beyond the body into the higher dimensional planes. You know, the heart chakra is related to the 5th dimension. The 5th dimension is love. The 5th dimension is light, bliss, beauty, silliness, joyfulness, and eventually ecstasy. beyond comprehension. That heart chakra might be small now, but it can grow to the size of the world. There really is no such thing as size. Scale is an illusion. And this is why when we begin with a single point, you can make your focus as small as a pinpoint. And sometimes that's necessary to fit through that doorway. You have to make yourself very small. You have to make yourself very light. So the other process of the meditation is to let go. Let go of all that baggage. Let go of all that heaviness. Let go of all that tension. Now, of course, we must maintain a certain amount of muscular tension to maintain a good posture. But within that framework, within that physical posture, the geometry, we then relax. We let go energetically. Because what we'll discover is that as we're focused, we'll start to notice all these energetic contractions kind of arise. We'll start to notice that there's physical tension in our face and we'll have to let it go. Okay? And this is just a process, because what needs to be done is that the body is an obstacle that needs to be overcome to get to the higher stages of meditation, to move beyond the body. And so let's do it. So yesterday we went over the wave breath, or the wave breathing. This is a great way to activate the energies of the body, to wake up. Okay, here we go. So the wave breath, quick review. We're going to inhale in the nose, exhale out the mouth. We're going to breathe belly, chest, and head. It's going to go like this. First, exhale. Then breathe in the nose, belly, chest, head. Exhale out the mouth. And now let it flow. You don't need to do anything with your hands. I'm just kind of showing you where the breath is going. This is the wave. Okay, let's do 5 of these. Here we go. This also clears the nasal passages. Take a big breath. Stretch those lungs. If you do this outside, you get a lot of oxygen. It's great. Okay, 2 more. Last one. Big deep breath. Here we go. And I'm going to start my timer. Now we're going to switch to the meditative breath. Inhaling in the nose and out the nose, keeping the mouth closed, keeping the tongue gently touching the roof of the mouth. Relax the face, good posture, close the eyes. We're going to switch to the diaphragmatic only breathing. Breathing just into the belly. It's also known as the Buddha's breath, because Buddha had a big belly. Well, at least that one incarnation he did. This is a calming breath. So for the first 5 minutes of this meditation session, we're just going to be focusing on the breath to establish a good breathing pattern. Simultaneously, we're going to be relieving, relaxing, releasing any tension that we feel in the physical body, and also energetically, any energetic contractions that come up. Let those go. And then we do that just simply by relaxing it, releasing it, letting it go. Now in the beginning, the breath is deliberate, it's deep. But as we progress with the breath, it becomes more and more subtle, with less and less effort. And after the 5 minutes, we're going to release focus on the breath entirely and focus on our heart chakras. But for now, keep focus on the breathing process. And the reason why we focus on our breath is because the breathing process is happening now. It's a continuous stream. It's a process that is happening in the moment. So by focusing on that process, we're shifting our attention to something that's happening within the moment. Thus, beginning the extraction of our attention from our repetitive attachment to thinking. Continue breathing more and more subtly, more calm, more effortless. Relaxing any facial tension, any tension in your body, in your shoulders. Becoming more and more still, settling down. Now, place the fingertips gently in the center of the chest at the heart chakra area. Now you'll continue to breathe, but forget about your breath for now. Bring all your full attention to the sensation of the fingertips touching the center of the chest. Forget about the world. Forget about what you have to do later. Forget about everything. Even forget about yourself. Just focus your attention on the place where your fingertips are touching the center of your chest. Once you've established connection with that feeling at the center of the chest with your attention, when you're ready, go ahead and remove the fingertips and place your hands gently on your lap or on your thighs in whatever way feels comfortable to you. Now continue to hold your attention on the area in the center of the chest and feel the energy there. Sense the energy there. Imagine as if you're doing an energy reading. Feel the spot. Just feel it. When the mind wanders, as it will, return your attention back to that spot and feel. Allow your body to become very still. There's no need to visualize anything, see anything, or think anything. You're now in the realm of feeling. When a sensation around the heart chakra arises, when you start to feel some energy, maybe a cool sensation or a tingling, maybe a warmth, lock onto that with your attention and hold. Feel the spot. Continue to probe its depths. Enter into that feeling. Enjoy the feeling. Continue to release any blocks or tension that you might feel. Don't sit there and space out. Keep your attention on feeling the heart chakra. Now become stillness. Let go. Let go of the body. Let go of the thoughts. Stay centered on feeling the heart chakra. It's okay to take a deep breath once in a while to help open up and release any tension, clear out any energy. Then bring that focus right back to the heart chakra. By now you might be feeling something. Wow, that was fast. Pretty cool. Pretty awesome. Now take a moment. Not thinking so much, are you? Feeling a little bit more, aren't we? See, the trick with meditation is really that you're training yourself. You're training your attention to be here. So spontaneously throughout the day, all of a sudden you'll notice your heart chakra is just open, perhaps. You know, yesterday I had an analogy that, you know, when we focus on building a muscle, we're bringing our attention to that muscle. We're stretching it, we're contracting it with the goal of building the muscle, making it bigger, making it stronger, if you're a bodybuilder, right? Well, it's very similar to the heart chakra process, is that when we're bringing our attention to the heart chakra, the longer we can hold our attention, the more it activates, the more energy we bring to it. Attention is energy. Remember, it's a modified form of awareness, so everything is energy. When we're bringing a piece of our energy, our focus, to our heart chakra, it grows. Where we plant the seeds, the garden grows, right? We water, or whatever that analogy where the grass is greener, where you water it. Woo! Nice. Feeling good. How you guys feeling out there? So an interesting thing about opening the heart chakra is that the heart chakra and feeling is related to smelling and the ability to open up the nasal passages. People that have chronic nasal congestion, I've found, have heart chakra blockages, because smelling is part of feeling. It's like sort of a modified form of feeling, because if you notice, the face is the upper part of the pyramid. Well, the upper part of the pyramid is just a smaller version of the entire pyramid, right? So this is our body. This is connected to the lower part, the organs. This is connected to the higher part, the lungs. And then the eyes are connected to the nervous system, the brain. So, you know, navel, heart, third eye. So the face is a microcosm of the body's macrocosm. Interesting little tidbit there. Hey, thank you guys. Feeling good. Love it. Love you. And thank you again for joining me for another session. I feel good. And your mindfulness task is throughout the day. Just be mindful of your heart chakra. Okay, guys? Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Take care.